A statement yesterday urging the NFL to boost their, quote, abysmal record of hiring minorities. The statement also said that the league's, quote, current system of hiring and promoting talent into the upper levels of NFL management is a flawed system. We cannot expect fairness if business remains status quo. Shannon, what is your reaction to this?
I'm not surprised they use the term abysmal because that's what it is. And as I said last week, Skip, until you have a more diverse people that can hire more diverse looking people that doesn't necessarily look like them, talk like them, act like them, this is what you're going to get. Skip, we automatically knew when we heard Marvin Lewis had interviewed for the Dallas Cowboys, what was the first thing that was a box they had to check. So that seems to be the reoccurring theme, Skip. Every time that a minority goes, we're so conditioned, they just checking that box. Eric Bieniemy, Skip, if I didn't know better, I could have swore he was calling plays on Sunday. I could have swore he was calling plays. Now
he calls the plays.
Stefanski, if I'm not mistaken, Skip, this is his second year on the job. He was so bad at his job the year before that they brought in Gary Kubiak to oversee him. Yeah. And he gets a head coaching job. But nobody like, that's just standard procedure. This is why Cleveland is going to be Cleveland. They're going to do Cleveland Brown things. And guess what? 2 years from now, mark my word, we'll be back in the same situation again, Skip. Until you get more minorities that's in positions that they can hire minorities or people of color, you're going to have this, Skip. It used to be that way in the movie industry. Well, women can't lead until you got more women directors. And guess what you got, Skip? You got Wonder Woman. Oh, blacks can't lead. They won't have no movie. And then you got Ryan Coogler. And then you got Black Panther. Oh, they could do it if these studios just gave them a chance. Studios starting to give women and minorities more chances, and you're seeing a more diverse movie cast. You're seeing, oh, wow, $1 billion Black Panther. Oh, $1 billion Wonder Woman. That's what you're going to have to do, Skip, until you get general managers and VPs. Because it's like, well, I don't even know how they get promoted because it's supposed to be, Skip, not only coaches, front office. So GMs or presidents, VPs, all of those supposed to go through that channel of the Rooney Rule. But Skip, now the Rooney Rule's become a joke. All it is, they come in to check a box. We got to see him. We got to let them see him coming in the front door. Just ask him a few questions. Send him on his way. We've checked that box. We've moved on. Skip, it's a joke. It's really a joke. And the likelihood if you lose your job as a black, you got to wait about 7, 8 years before you get another job. These guys, white guys, lose their job and they go, guess what? Lost his job here, he go right over there and get him another job. And it's like, okay, it's good. Man, miss me with that, NFL.
So I know I bring him up often on this show, but my longtime friend John Wooten recently retired as the head of the Fritz Pollard Alliance, who was the driving force behind the original Rooney Rule. Spoke to him yesterday, and he drove home the point to me that, remember, the Rooney Rule worked for a long time. It actually worked at a pretty high level because as recently as 2018, not that long ago, there were 8 minority head coaches in the league, including Ron Rivera, obviously.
Right.
As recently as 2015, there were 7 black general managers in the National Football League. Not great, but not terrible. Not like it is now, right?
Okay.
So his point was, it was kind of working for the longest time, and then all of a sudden, we just lost it. Everything went white, right? John didn't use that word. I'm using that word. But back to Stefanski, and back to your point. Gary Kubiak was the driving force behind their offense this year, right? That's all Mike Zimmer has ever talked about is he turned around our life here, right? Like he changed Kirk Cousins' life. Gary Kubiak. Did he call plays? I don't know if he called some of the plays. It looked like Stefanski was mostly with the headset on, but was the game plan from Gary Kubiak? So how much control does Stefanski really have? But guess what? He's become a close friend of Paul DePodesta of Moneyball fame, baseball fame. I knew Paul when he was under Billy Beane in Oakland. But Paul is an integral part now. He survived a bunch of regimes with the Cleveland Browns. And where did Paul go to school? He went to Harvard. And where did Stefanski go to school? He went to Penn. So they're like Ivy League brethren, right? And Paul pushed hard to hire Kevin a year ago when they elevated, you know who, Freddie Kitchens. And so he pushed again, and this time he won. Kevin Stefanski. Let's bring him in. Watch what happens. Well, what has Stefanski ever done in this league to show you he's going to be a great head coach? Show me. Please show me something.
They brought in somebody over him to oversee him.
Yeah, to oversee him. And then we're back to, do I have to keep beating the quote-unquote dead horse? But Matt Rule won nothing big at Temple and absolutely nothing big at Baylor. He, quote-unquote, turned them around. And that qualified him how for a contract that's, what is it? 7 years at almost $10 million a year with the incentives, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What did he do to qualify for a head coaching job? Nothing?
Yeah.
Right? Joe Judge, he talks tough. He talks a big game.
It sounded good.
Good press conference.
Sounded good.
I was ready to go.
But again, he's a chip off Belichick's block, but he's way down the list. He's the special teams / wide receivers coach.
Yeah, he ain't a branch off the tree. He's
no,
elite.
he's not. He's elite. I would agree.
If you want to go Mangini, you're going to go Cornell, you're going to go Bill O'Brien, okay, I get that.
Okay. So John Wooten drove home the point to me that, do you realize in the Super Bowl, the odds are we're going to have 2 minority coordinators facing each other, Robert Saleh versus Eric Bieniemy, and we didn't get 1 minority head coach hire.
But guess what, Skip? They said, I read the study, say I think a little over 70% of the players in the NFL is African American.
Okay.
What's the likelihood you think that dips to 50% or 45%? You see what Skip? That doesn't ever. Now, just the divisional round, you had 4 African American quarterbacks. You're good enough to play, but I don't know if you're good enough to coach the players that look like you. Jim Caldwell got a job. Jim Caldwell did a heck of a job. I bet the Lions fans wish they could go to the playoffs, like Jim Caldwell had them 2 of the 4 years that he was there. Went 9-7, lost his job. Now, we're going to see how long before Steve Wilkes, Marvin Lewis, Jim Caldwell get another job after they've lost their jobs.
Good point. Maybe won't happen.
Yeah.
You're right. So you mentioned black quarterbacks. We've seen great sort of progress there in that position, right?
Yeah.
There was a time when we just barely had any.
They couldn't think on their feet. They didn't process information fast enough. And then all of a sudden, he can't.
Yeah.
But you got to give him a chance, Skip. Give him a chance.
Yeah.
You got me like they giving Stefanski a chance, like they giving Matt Rule a chance. Give him a chance.
Okay, I told you I spent a week once upon a time when I worked at the LA Times in Ruston, Louisiana at Grambling University with Doug Williams, this kid that nobody really knew. And I talked to one GM who said they don't have the mental skills to play quarterback. And all he did was become the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And that was sort of the breakthrough moment.
Right.
And now it's pretty open, like it's pretty good. Like whatever diversity we have at quarterback in the NFL is not being mirrored at head coach or especially at general manager.
Yes. Look, you can be the line cook, but the sous chef? Wait a minute now. You can't. You can work for the restaurant. You can't be the face of the restaurant. That's all I'm saying.
So the pinnacle was reached after the 2006 season in the Super Bowl when we had Tony Dungy versus Lovey, right?
Yep.
Great. And Tony obviously broke through and won a Super Bowl.
And Lovey lost his job. What did Lovey go, 8-8 in Tampa? And then lost his job to his coordinator. Let that sink in. I give you one guess. The color of the coordinator.
Okay. And Mike Tomlin did win a Super Bowl for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes,
so
and had them competitive all year long, given the injuries.
That's
with
true.
the quarterback, Juju being out, Connor being out, the injuries that they've gone through. But Mike Tomlin is more the anomaly than the norm. Black coaches don't normally get that kind of length of time. Now, the Steelers is an organization, they don't really like to fire. That's why they've had 3 coaches since 1969. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. But And I tell people, like, look at Marvin. You don't remember what the Bengals were, Skip. You remember, because you covered this game, you've been around it. You know what the Bengals were before Marvin got on the...
Yeah. Marvin's problem was he went 0 for 7 in the playoffs.
Right.
But he made the playoffs 7 times for a bad franchise.
Yes.
A mom-and-pop organization that's run cheaply. So he deserves... Clearly, I like Marvin. In fact, I was pushing, I wouldn't have minded if Jerry Jones had hired Marvin Lewis.
Very respected, too, by the players, right? I mean, everyone talks so highly of him.
Yeah, cheap. So, Mike Brown, cheap. You can go over the overpass, Skip, and park an overpass and watch the Bengals practice.
You can. That's true. So I mentioned this earlier, but the Institute for Diversity and Ethics in Sports, their racial report card for last year, that doesn't include this hiring month now. Right. But A+ for minority assistants. D+ for head coaches in the National Football League. Well,
what is the
that
front
tell you?
office?
Okay.
Probably F.
I don't know the front office, but I do know if you're given A+ for assistants, that means the pipeline is full of young, they could be of any minority, but a lot of young black assistants who are coming up, and maybe they're better than Kevin Stefanski, right?
You can sit next to the man, you just can't be the man.
Yep.
You can be you be the assistant director. You can't be the director.
Okay.
Hey, this is
I don't know. It's
well, maybe if we talk about it enough, somebody will open their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I agree. I agree. Okay, we're going to transition, guys, to Lamar Jackson. Did Jackson get exposed after another disappointing playoff performance? We'll just